Hey guys, Shane McMurray from the Wedding Report. In this episode, I interview Tracy, who is the owner of Tracy M Events in Toronto, Canada. Check it out. Tracy, thanks so much for doing this. Appreciate your time. Tell me about your business. Tell me where you guys are located, your website address, Instagram, all that good stuff.
Sounds good. Thanks so much for having me. So I'm Tracy Manilescu, and I run Tracy M Events, and I'm also the co-founder of the Wedding Planners Institute of Canada, and we're based out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Nice.
And the website is www.tracymevents.ca and wpic.ca.
Nice. So tell me kind of what goes into what you do. Like, I know you plan events, but let's talk about like, what does that really mean, right? Because it could mean a lot of different things. So tell me, is it like full service? Do you guys just do, 6 weeks prior? What does it include?
Okay, so for Tracy M Events, we do either month of, partial planning, or full planning services. So whenever they need us, we're there for them. So if they want to come to us 6 weeks before, if they want to come to us 6 months before, 2 years before, we're here for them.
Yeah. So full service planning really is just the whole thing, right? You're just managing the whole thing from beginning to end, right?
Absolutely.
But what is like what would you consider like partial planning or month of? I mean, what kind of goes into that? Because there might be some misconceptions about like month of. I mean, like month of is like you should have had a bunch of stuff done already, but what happens, right?
Absolutely. So month of is you're basically starting about 6 weeks before the wedding with us. And even if you hire us a year before, we're taking over from the point where you already have your vendors in place. You already have maybe a temporary timeline in place. You have your venue chosen. You have your dress. You have your girls. You have your guys, however it's going to be. Everything is pretty much laid out, but you might have some concerns leading up to it. Maybe there's family dynamics. Maybe there's problems in the wedding party. Maybe something with the venue going on. You need us up until that point, and then also running it smoothly from the rehearsal onwards on all through the day. So an hour before the wedding until the end of the evening.
Yeah. And so is that like similar to partial planning, or is partial planning kind of a little more involved?
Partial planning is a little more involved. So perhaps maybe you had a vendor who something went wrong and you backed out, or they backed out, or something went under and you need some help with different vendors. We will totally step in and give you from our list and refer people to you that we think would be a good fit for you. Coming in, stepping in, maybe you are having trouble with a timeline. Maybe you have no idea what you're doing as a couple in there. Maybe you just don't want to do it. So we will step in and take over really hands-on as much as you want us to be from that point that you hire us.
Yeah, that makes sense. What would you say, like, I mean, I know it's like close in, right? Like the timeline, and you probably have already chosen thing, but what is like, as a planner, what would you say kind of is like the challenge of coming in 6 weeks prior to the wedding and having to deal with various different scenarios, I'm sure. So, explain to couples what that really means.
Okay. So some planners love or hate month of.
Yeah. I've noticed that.
Well, it's hit or miss. Most of the time, I really, really enjoy it because you're coming in and you're like the saving grace factor. So the couples are just like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're here, that kind of thing. The surprise from our end might be, well, I can give you an example. I had an extra flower girl that I didn't see until the actual wedding day. We had a limo that broke down because it's not a company that I ever knew, and that they had to come and get it boosted right outside.
Yeah.
Flowers were falling apart because they're having a friend do it as opposed to a professional wedding vendor. So there's all those kinds of surprises in there. Maybe they didn't allocate for seating charts or the guest list on there, and there's tons of people missing from the guest list, and you only have what they give you, so you can't get in there.
Yeah.
So if you were hired beforehand, we have a system in place where they're implementing the names. We're meeting all these different times ahead of time, getting it all organized. Really would alleviate that kind of mess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Usually it ends in a positive way.
That's good. That's good. So how do you get most of your customers? Do you get referrals? Are they coming to you online? Are they calling you? What would you say are the primary ways that people come to you?
Honestly, I'm mostly getting from referrals. So it could be from past clients. The last wedding I had was from the bridesmaid, the maid of honor, actually.
Nice.
And she was at an event and heard about us and recommended her. She actually gave it as a gift to her best friend.
Mhm.
Venues, another one that I'm doing this August is from a venue that I love working with, and I just love the staff. And so obviously it's reciprocated and they sent
Yeah,
them my way, things like that.
awesome.
So it really, really plays into having good relationships with people for sure.
Yeah. So tell me what the process is. I come to you, I'm looking for a planner. What does that process look like?
So typically they're going to call or email us. Then I would like to have an in-person meeting because totally it's not going to work if we don't jive.
Yeah.
So when you have that face-to-face meeting, you can find out if they're going to be, I don't know, getting along with you, if they have a good sense of humor, if that's what something I'm looking for, if they jive well together as a couple, if they're going to be constantly bickering, that then you know that's going to be a red alert. Or maybe there's a family member causing huge dynamics in there. Could be a mother, could be a father, could be best friend, whomever. Just get in there, find out their problems, make sure that you are able to work with them in those situations. Maybe it's something that you just can't handle and you don't do very well, working with a mother or working with an unruly friend or someone that's overly involved. You have to find out if that fits your situation,
Yeah.
because it's not just you and the couple, it's you and the couple and whoever they have involved.
Sure.
So
Sure.
then if that works, they have to like you as well. Maybe they just think you're totally outlandish, and maybe they think my sense of humor is just too much for them or something like that. And
Right.
then if you work together, it's that much better just because you have that connection and you're talking with each other and finding out likes, dislikes, and what's
Great.
involved and expected, etc.
Yeah. So let's say I decide to work with you. What happens after that?
So then you're going to be signing that lovely contract. So what I would do in the face-to-face meeting is we're going to go over our emergency kit, show them different things that would be helpful on the day of. It's also just a good communication point. You're going to go over a portfolio, past weddings, past maybe circumstances, things that have gone wrong, because you want to scare them a little bit too, why they really need a wedding planner. Tell
Sure.
them some horror stories. This is what we would be looking out for. This is something that went wrong, how we fixed it, etc. Going over the contract in person, but not having them sign it, getting them to take it back with them so it's not pressure. Give them a couple days, maybe give them a week that they have to sign it, send it back to us. We have it electronically as well through Aisle Planner, and then we're good to go. Then we can start the process.
Nice. So when we talk about like budget and price, yeah, I know you offer three different types of things, and I know every wedding's pretty much custom, right? It just depends on various different things. But what am I looking at basic, um, average, whatever, for like full service versus like partial planning versus like month of,
Okay, so every wedding planner is going to be a little bit different in the services they offer and the prices they offer.
right?
I can tell you averages in Toronto, and I can tell you what I do personally with that.
Yeah, for you, like what is your average, right?
My
Because I'm
month
sure
of
you have, some that are lower, some that are higher, whatever, but what is your average?
Okay, so with me, I charge flat fee. So my month of services are 1,800 Canadian. Partial planning is 3,000, and my full planning can be 5 to 5,500.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, it's all custom, so it depends, right? Especially with full
Exactly.
planning. Yeah, I mean, there's tons of work to do there. Yeah, that's good. Good. So, tell me what your process is. So, we've signed up. We said, hey, we're going to do the thing. We want to hire you. We sign the contract. What is the process look like from like after that up into the day?
Okay, we do a little happy dance. At our meetings,
Drink some
pretty much.
champagne.
Yeah, woohoo! Uh, we're going to be, we'll give them a little gift or a thank you card or something for signing up, just to let them know and feel special, and because we're feeling very happy that and appreciative of them.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to start right away by getting them up on Aisle Planner. I just love that system. I've been using it for a few years. That opens it up to them. So the planning is very upfront and they're involved in it right from the beginning. They can see everything, the budget tracker, if there's any different notes, a seating chart is in there. There's a mood board in there. You can add different things. That just gets them in there right away, and they can start planning along with me. If they wanted to put a website, there's all different kinds of things there. Then
Mhm.
we're going to start looking at, if it's full planning, we're going to start looking at, okay, what do you have already in place? What vendors do you have, if any? Where are you looking at? Let's get the actual ceremony place booked first, because there's no wedding without the ceremony. Is it
Mhm.
going to be an all-in-one place? And then let's start going to them. So let's visit the venue. If it has to be at a church, let's find out first what dates the church is available, because that priest might only have, I don't know, 2 Saturdays in whatever, June or July.
Yeah.
So you have to work around that. Then you're going to be finding the venue that works with you. Is it going to be a museum? Are you looking for an art gallery? Are you looking for a chalet style or whatever it's going to be? And then we start breaking down from importance after that.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. And then day of, what, I mean, like, well, let's talk about hours. How much time do you spend like prior? So I know full planning is probably a lot more, right? Because there's just a lot more to do. But let's talk about like maybe a month of, right? So how many hours would you say you're spending prior to the event just to get things scheduled and planned and worked out?
Probably about 30, 35 hours per month of, because you're still having to contact each and every vendor. You're still having your meetings with your couples,
Yeah.
family members, you're attending the rehearsal, and you're working 12 to 14 hours on the actual wedding day as well.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you, like, how many hours are you spending on the actual wedding day?
So we go about an hour before the ceremony, unless the couple has requested us to come for our hair and makeup or first look
Sure.
photos, whatever it is. Then of course we're just going. That's included in our fee. And then we're doing all the stuff through the day, and then we're staying till the end of the evening. So maybe we have to help tear down. Maybe we're helping bring the gifts and the money box to the cars.
Yeah.
Maybe we're whatever it is. But yeah, we're
Yeah.
staying right till the end of the evening for that.
Whatever's required to make sure that their day is amazing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. So if someone's looking for a planner, or maybe they're not looking for a planner, what would you, I mean, to me, I think I feel like, you know, for something like that, it kind of takes some of the pressure off because, you know, you should be just focused on enjoying your wedding, not having to deal with all the logistics, which a lot of people do, right?
Mhm.
Or they have someone in the family take care of it. But what advice would you give couples maybe that they're not looking for a planner, or maybe they are looking for a planner, but they're not sure? So what advice would you give them?
What I would suggest is probably try, if they're not having a planner, try to get everything done about 2 weeks before the wedding so you can just actually sit back that last week, and maybe there's going to be last minute things that are coming up, but try to just be able to relax that last week. Make sure you're getting your nails done, your facials done a few days before, etc. Making sure, I don't know, the massage or whatever is ready and available. Make sure you're going on dates with your significant other. And not talk about weddings whatsoever, just so you still remember why the two of you are actually together and going to be doing something coming up,
Yeah,
right?
right.
It gets annoying. You get all this wedding talk, like sometimes it just drives you insane. So
Yeah. Maybe that's why some people just elope, right? Just to not deal with it. Just
exactly.
let's go elope and just have a party at home and forget all this nonsense. So
Make sure they're reconfirming with all of the vendors about a week to 2 weeks before, setting the timelines to everyone. You want to work with the DJ specifically if you are not having a wedding planner, because that's who's running the party.
yeah,
That's who needs the timelines. That's who's running on a set schedule and who's going to make or break the wedding there. So really
yeah.
get close to the DJ and photographer. That's
Yeah,
it.
that's important. Like, I mean, I know a lot of times people spend most of their time with the photographer, right? If they have a photographer, they're going to spend most of their time with the photographer. And but really, when it comes to the reception, or even sometimes part of the ceremony, the DJ is kind of running the show, right? So
Absolutely.
everything's kind of going to be coordinated timeline wise between that and giving food out and getting drinks out and you know all that good stuff. So yeah, I can see that. That's a good point. Thanks so much. Um,
Absolutely.
so let's flip gears a little bit, talk about the business side, and let's talk a little bit about like for you, what would you say in your business or just even lately, what would you say is kind of working well for you? What's going well? What things have you put in place that you feel like, yeah, you know what, these are actually working pretty well for us?
I think something I have changed this year is really getting more adept with my, I don't know, different programs in place and my different timelines and different things that I'm sending out. So it's streamlined and automated, and here it is, and I'll just adjust this for you. It's already put in place. It's already with the company logo on it, that kind of thing. It just looks much more business-like, much more professional, and I don't have to type it up and copy and paste each and every time and things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I think
So
that's
was
working
that
a lot better.
before not like that? And this year you decided to kind of automate some of that?
It's been little bits here and there, and then I liked one thing I did, and then I didn't like the other. I liked the different system, like aisle planner. I'm going back. They should pay me. Yeah, everything's automated, so I can just send it to them. They can sign the signature back. We can add different things on here. If the mom wants to get involved, she can jump in, things like that. I just really find that the communication, well, I have improved more on communication too, but that was always a strong point. I just think it's so, so important to keep everybody in the loop and keep going. And really, you are a team, because it's not the planner versus the couple. It's me, I'm coming in, they're hiring me to work with them. And I
Yeah.
find that that just changes everything when you actually are a team and they don't feel uncomfortable with you and you like you're hiding something. And if there's a concern along the way, tell them. And
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. Um, what would you say on the flip side of that are your biggest challenges today?
oh, my website. I keep changing it. It's still in the middle of a progress thing right now with our developer. Yeah, that kind of thing. Also, social media, keeping up with social media, keeping up with blogs. It's killing me.
Well, let's
The
talk
blog.
about the website thing a little bit. So, um, there's so many tools out there to build your own website, but you have to learn the tool, or you have to hire someone to keep it up to date for you. So, and
Right.
then the challenge of signing off on what you want on the site and all that stuff. Let's talk about how that's challenging for you, because I get it as a small business trying to keep your website up to date and all that. I mean, it's just a lot of work. So
Yeah.
let's talk about that. I can see the stress with you on this. So let's talk about why that's a challenge for you.
Well, about 2 years ago, I had a wonderful, wonderful website, and somehow I deleted it. I was changing different things, gone. Anyway, they couldn't salvage what I needed. So anyway, we brought our web developer back in for it. I personally will never build my own website. I'm not good at it. I will leave that to the experts. So it's the communication and time, and he's in the US, and it's just going back and forth, getting things approved, okayed, and I'm still not happy with this. So that I'm waiting on photos from different couples that I want to add, different pages I want to add, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. I just really am grateful for people who are good at what they do for different reasons. And there's a reason that there's real estate agents. There's a reason there's web developers, that kind of stuff. And I appreciate and
Yeah.
respect the heck out of them. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's good, because I mean, that's what that, it's like I'm good at numbers and I could probably
Right.
do my own accounting, but because it's business accounting, I have an accountant that handles all of
Right.
the taxes and all of the accounting stuff, because I don't want to have to deal with knowing all the regulations and all the other things. So it's just best to let them handle it, right?
100%.
Even though I love data and I love numbers, I mean, it's just like, yeah, let me enter this stuff into QuickBooks and you go, here,
Yep.
here it is. Do the quarterlies, do the annual taxes. I don't want to deal with it, right?
And they're trained for that. So have
Exactly.
at it.
That's their life. That's what they do,
Yeah.
right? So I get it. And I think it's best if you can, right? This is where I think businesses kind of miss the opportunity to become more efficient. And that is that as a small business, we try to take on a lot of things, and we have
Mhm.
to, right? Like, we have our craft that we're excited about. This is what we do, right? I want to focus on this. But then you have all the other things that you have to do as a business. And I think if you can figure out the balance between contracting out, or, I like to call it contracting out, right?
Mhm.
Certain aspects like your website or your accounting or your other pieces of your thing, so you don't have to focus on that and deal with most of that. I think that just adds so much. I mean, know what your weaknesses are. If that's your
Yes.
weakness, let someone else deal with it, right? So you can focus on the things that you're good at, right?
Make it better. Absolutely. Oh,
Yeah,
I still
exactly.
agree with that. That's
Yeah, otherwise you stretch yourself super thin trying to do all these things, and nothing gets done, right? And then everything else suffers because of the fact that you're stretched thin, right?
totally, totally agree. That's
Yeah. So current day challenges. What's happening current day for you, challenge wise?
uh, well, luckily my next wedding is not till August 2nd, so I'm good with that. My couple's very confident right now. They're not stressing about with COVID-19 or anything like that right now.
That's
On
good.
the WPIC side, we're stressing because we have like 2 classes a month. We have a class going on this weekend in Alberta. Some of the students have backed out and switched to online. You have to be open and accepting of that, and what is your policy in place for things like that? Because you can't just say, oh, I'm sorry, you're not getting a refund. Well, what good is that going to do, and how is that going to be for word of mouth? And there's a crisis going on, so we
Yeah.
need to step up and realize
Yeah.
it too.
People need to step up. I agree with you. I think that's important. Yeah, for sure. So as a small business owner, what advice would you give other businesses? I mean, you have many years of experience running your business. If there's one piece of advice, what would that be?
Stay up to date. Don't overreact. Don't panic. Find out what's going on around you and think ahead of the game. Have a plan B. What are some options that we can do instead of this? Can we cut the guest list? Can we maybe have disposable, maybe the big thing about it, pens, let's say pens.
Mhm.
You're not having pens. You can have, don't have, forget the guest signing book, things like that.
Mhm.
Buffets, food on the table. Maybe have a sit down instead. There are little changes that you can do. Making sure staff are cleaning extra well. Bring your own to help clean, because maybe they're too busy doing their thing. So why can't you step in and have that in your handy dandy emergency kit? Whip it
Yeah.
out, right? Like that, just that kind of stuff, and put
Yeah.
ease of mind. And if you see someone that's not feeling well, or you know of someone that's not feeling well, ask them not to come and check on them. Make sure that it's not what it could be. And if it's a runny nose, that's not COVID. That's
Yeah. Could be sinus or something else. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And if
What,
you're
so
not
you,
feeling well, stay home.
yeah, you mentioned emergency kit. So talk about the emergency kit. What is that? What is that for you? What's in it?
Huh, everything. It's basically like a little suitcase. I have it. I can pull it out if you want. But it's huge. So we have, it's like a luggage basically, but with all different compartments in it, and it always has a strap over our shoulder, so it comes everywhere. At the dining room, with here in Canada, we sit in the dining room and actually eat because we're there until 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
So they're putting us usually at a vendor table or somewhere. It goes under my table. I do not leave without that. Doesn't stay in my car, doesn't stay in another room. It has, let's say, hairspray, hairspray in there, or static guard can be for the bottoms of the shoes. A lot of the times the girls don't have treads on the bottoms of their shoes, and you just spray it and it becomes slip proof.
Nice.
You might want to have scissors. You might want to have from the pharmacy, Advil, Tylenol, whatever it is, and making sure you're following the directions with that, because you can't personally disperse it. You're
Yeah.
checking the date on it. You're making sure, telling them, are you allergic to anything? You're putting it down on a flat surface over the age of 18, and they will take it themselves.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. We have the blotters, sweating blotters. We
Yeah.
have pantyhose. We have feminine products. Anything in there, gum, mouthwash, candies, Tic Tacs, anything in there that is going to help assist on the day. We have screwdrivers, whatever can come up, we think we've got it covered.
And I feel like you have built this over the years. Like, oh man, I
yes.
need to add that to the emergency kit.
Yeah.
Oh man, I need to add that to the emergency kit.
Absolutely. The butane lighters, we even had condoms one time. We stopped giving them out because people were coming up and asking for them. So
Sure.
that's enough of that. Go to the store.
Yeah. All right. Good. That's
Yeah.
enough of that. Yeah.
But totally, there's so many things in there that change, and you
Yeah.
add to it. Cake knives, things like that.
Yeah. Who
Sometimes we
knows?
have
They
to
forgot it, right? I mean, you never
Oh,
know.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're prepared.
Yep.
And it
That's
puts
good.
people at ease too. And they're coming up, hand sanitizer, whatever it is, they're coming up asking if they can use it. Absolutely.
That's great. That's great. So last question, what's your best or worst wedding or business story you got for me?
Oh my goodness. Oh, there's so many great experiences that I've been blessed to have. I'm trying to think of one that was exceptional.
Yeah. One that stood
Okay,
out to you.
last wedding I did was an African and Newfoundland blending. And so the bride was from Newfoundland and the groom was from Africa. And so they had so many different aspects, the dancing, the outfit changes, etc. But the Newfoundland aspect of it was so much fun, because I don't know if you're familiar with Screeching
No.
In. Okay,
No.
so they had the groom, who's African, go up on the stage, and an aunt from the bride came up and decided she actually gave a certificate from it. You take the Screech rum and you take a codfish, and that was in the freezer. So we had it all planned with the venue. They brought it out. It was in the freezer, so it didn't start smelling. He
Yeah.
had to put on a rain hat and coat. So it was bright yellow. It was such a fun thing, because he had no idea what was coming. And she would go through this ritual in her Newfie accent.
Mhm.
And so it's eyes and buys and what, it was just so funny. He didn't understand a thing she was saying. She made him repeat everything. Then he had to take a shot and then kiss the fish. And now he's officially in the family. It was so much fun.
That's pretty
And guests
cool.
were loving it so much. They were like rolling.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool
That was
story.
awesome.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
so fun.
Yeah. Awesome. Tracy, thanks so much for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
Thank you so much. You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for checking out this episode. I hope that you found it helpful. Please share it with other people. Also, if you're getting married or you work in the wedding industry, I would love to interview and share your information with other people. Send me a text 520-399-8580 or shoot me an email at letschat@wedding.report.